there were over 90 simultaneous breaches of the fencing between Gaza and Israel by these terrorist squads. They moved forward, as I learned, with sufficient arms and supplies to march all the way here to Jerusalem, to march to Tel Aviv, and literally to cut Israel in half, presumably with the expectation that Hezbollah would move against the northern half.
Welcome back to the Rosenberg Report. Big week here in Israel. A lot of things going on the military front, and you can find out all about that at All Israel News. I'm very grateful for the interview with Governor DeSantis, especially right before the caucuses. And next week, we will be analyzing the results of that first vote in the United States, because who becomes the next president of the United States is going to affect Israel, Iran, and this region. But I want to show you a clip of an exclusive interview I did just a few days ago with former Vice President Mike Pence, who came for 5 days, the highest ranking Republican to come to Israel since October 7th, and the most high profile evangelical Christian to come on a solidarity mission since October 7th as well. Let's take a look at one of the things he told me during that interview.
My support for Israel really springs from my upbringing in a Christian home, my decision to put my faith in Jesus Christ as a college freshman, and a verse that my wife and I just read in our devotions the other day, out of Genesis 12. And the Lord says, "I will bless those who bless you, I will curse those who curse you." And I think as believers, we are called to bless Israel and to stand with Israel. And it's been part of the calling of my public life in my career, and meeting with families of hostages, meeting with families of victims, meeting with soldiers, as I've had the privilege to do the last few days. I also wanted to meet with leaders in the Christian community who've come alongside their neighbors and families here in Israel. Many of them have family members serving in Israeli Defense Forces as well, but just to tell them and to tell groups like Samaritan's Purse how inspired I've been to see the outpouring of love and support and prayers for the people of Israel in this dark time.
Amen. Not a lot of American governmental leaders will quote Genesis 12, because it doesn't imply, it states that God had a specific plan, that he made a specific promise to the Jewish people, that to give us a land, to bless us, to make us a blessing to the rest of the world. Mm-hmm. And there's a consequence to hating us and cursing us. Not that we're doing everything right every single day. The scriptures don't say that. But you just quoted it. I will bless those who bless you, and those who curse you, I will curse. So, you take that verse and that passage literally. What's the implication of that right now for Hamas, Hezbollah, the Iranian leadership? I mean, this is we've been cursed by these groups daily, and now in real time.
What I saw when we visited the Kfar Aza, the kibbutz near the Gaza border, I saw things I never thought I'd see in my life. The Israeli embassy shared parts of the raw footage of that video captured from the body cameras of terrorists. But I still wasn't prepared for what I saw. Homes ransacked, still the vestiges of a level of brutality that I had never imagined. I've been to war zones before, Joel, but this was not the aftermath of war. This was the aftermath of evil.
War is usually between combatants. Israel's never experienced something where people storm into homes of people sleeping, mothers, children, Holocaust survivors, babies, and just cut their heads off, burn them alive. They brought their own gasoline from Gaza to burn them alive. Governor Huckabee and Sam Brownback and others and I were just in Kfar Aza right before Christmas. There's a wickedness that happened there that is, I don't know that the American media is explaining to people why we're fighting in Gaza.
What happened was unspeakable. It also wasn't merely a terrorist attack. What I learned and saw the aftermath of this week was this was a terrorist invasion of Israel. I mean there were over 90 simultaneous breaches of the fencing between Gaza and Israel by these terrorist squads. They move forward, as I learned, with sufficient arms and supplies to march all the way here to Jerusalem, to march to Tel Aviv, and literally to cut Israel in half, presumably with the expectation that Hezbollah would move against the northern half. And I must tell you that I think many Americans understand the horrific nature of it, but to your point, I don't think they fully appreciate that this was ultimately a step toward genocide of the Jewish people and ending the Jewish state of Israel. And but for the courage of law enforcement on the streets of places like Sderot, and defense forces and courageous civilians who stepped up, they were able to stop the march of those terrorists.
So grateful to my two guests this week. Governor Ron DeSantis, who is in the fight of his life for the Republican presidential nomination. I'm not sure if it's a cliffhanger right now, but I would say it's a very interesting race, and we'll have full coverage next week on how this plays out in the Iowa caucuses. Also grateful to former Vice President, the 48th Vice President of the United States, a friend I've known for many, many years, Mike Pence. I will show you more of that interview next week as well as on YouTube. Thank you so much for watching. Please keep praying that all the hostages are released, that Israel would win this war on each front decisively, and that God would have mercy on us and on the Palestinians who are just caught in a terrible situation made by Iran, Hezbollah, and Hamas.